This is Rudkowski of WeAreChange.org here in Chile, and I'm joined by Ben Swann of BenSwann.com. That's two N's. Now, myself and Ben, we've been driving around all over Chile doing different events, doing different video shoots, and we've been playing this game. What is this game that we've been playing in this car?
Yeah, so this is a game called Concentration that my kids actually taught me. So you basically start out like this. You make a little beat, and then you say, let's play Concentration. No repeats or hesitations. I will start and you will lose. Category is, and then you pick a category.
All right. So we're going to play this game with Ben, and it's going to be journalistic ethics. What is the ethical thing to do in journalism, so we can teach you a lesson and also have a little competition between me and Ben. So let's start this off. You're a pro at this game. I'm giving you the start.
Okay, here we go. Category is journalistic ethics. Sources.
Not mentioning kids in your stories that have been related to crime.
Okay, not quite keeping with the pattern, but that's all right.
We got a sentence. We got to do a sentence.
You're new to this.
We got a sentence. We got to explain what an ethic is.
How about retractions, but not buried at the end of a newscast, like up front?
Not theorizing what happens and just telling people exactly what is going on and not speculating.
Breaking the left-right paradigm, telling the truth about what's happening, not based out of a political prism.
Not taking money from advertisers that you're doing stories on.
Ooh, not refusing to do stories on advertisers.
Upholding your oath to your sources and not breaking whistleblowers' identities.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That's a good ethic.
How about
it's getting close.
How about having sources that you can actually trust and verify?
Not just reposting anyone's speculation on Twitter like I did before without verifying from other sources. That's pretty much the same thing. But I could also say not okay, I got this. Not going off from an uncredited source, not believing what you hear from just one person, but getting a second source to the story to confirm your story.
Not using blogs as sources or Wikipedia.
Yes, okay, here we go. I got this. We got to keep talking. The more we keep talking, the more everything's going to keep going. We still got this. The beat is going. Not editing your subject to fit your particular point of view and editing out what he really said.
To that point, releasing the entire interview on the internet.
I was going to say releasing a full transcript of the interview.
Not transcripts, because even transcripts, people don't read them. You got to put the whole video up.
Okay, here we go. I got this. Not being biased in your reporting and giving both sides of the story.
Not believing there are only two sides to a story.
Not editorializing content to fit your personal beliefs and views.
Not passing off political talking heads as being experts.
Not listening to Pentagon experts and people who have a conflict of interest with a story and using them as your subject for your interviews, like CNN using Pentagon contractors to talk about war.
Not pretending that anyone who owns a super PAC is a source.
Oh, this is gonna get hard. All right, here we go. I think we broke it down pretty much. I think I lost this one. Ben won. I think we repeated them. But Ben, we've been doing journalism for a while. You've been doing it longer than I have. What is one of those ethics that you learned most and that you think is most important to you?
Well, I think one of the things that's really important is that as a journalist, you're never going to always get it right. I mean, sometimes you get stories wrong, and sometimes information's wrong. And that's okay. I think that's really genuinely okay. The problem is when you believe that it's not okay, and so you hide and bury the fact that you were wrong about something, so that nobody knows it because you're so ashamed, and so you'll see, everyone knows how this works. News stations who will run retractions at the very end of a newscast when no one's watching. Oh, by the way, yesterday we said this and it's not true. But I think the bigger issue within the left-right paradigm, what I have learned is that this idea that we're balancing news by breaking down the left-right paradigm and giving both sides of a story because we don't want to just be biased to one side, it's just not true. Yeah. The fact is there are so many sides to stories, and rarely is a story accurately told through either the left or the right paradigm.
There's a lot of editorializing going on, and I see a lot of times when people are wrong, you see it in very small print in newspapers, and you see it in very fast motion graphics on newscasts. But has there ever been a time where you've been wrong that you admitted in your journalistic career?
Absolutely, absolutely there has. I won't tell you what it is. No, I'm kidding. No, there have been times. There have been times that when I've run a story, I'll give you an example of it, was we did a piece blasting Piers Morgan from CNN about the numbers that he uses to talk about gun-related crime in the United States versus crime in the UK. And so we take a look at violent crime in the UK and gave these numbers. And actually I had some people who contacted me and said, hey, by the way, your numbers are incorrect because the way they calculate violent crime in the UK is different than the US. What they consider a violent crime in the UK is different than the US.
Yeah.
And then there was an article written by a group called the Skeptical Libertarian who blasted us for that as well. So what I did about it was, we were doing reality check at the time. We had done one a couple nights before, so a couple nights later came back and said, we're going to give ourselves a reality check, and here's where we were wrong.
Yeah.
But the principle of the story stayed the same, because the fact was the numbers were still higher, regardless, but we wanted to make sure it was clear and it was right. At the end of the day, a journalist doesn't have to be perfect, a journalist has to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't have to be right every time, but I do have to admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest lessons I learned was during the Aurora shooting in Colorado. And I had multiple sources telling me that the shooter was a member of the Black Bloc from the Occupy thing. I retweeted it. I said, I'm hearing rumors that this person is from this organization. That was the biggest mistake I can make because, one, it's speculation. Right. Even though I have two sources who said that they were at meetings and they saw him, I thought it was a legitimate thing. I thought it was something newsworthy. I shared it. I told them it was a speculation, but the damage was done. What I was doing was kind of indicting people who are part of that group, and it was very ignorant of me to just take two sources' words for it in the heat of the moment when the story's breaking just to get it out there. Yeah. And we see...
But by the way, in your defense, that happens to networks all the time. Yeah. I mean, network news during the Boston bombing released so much information that was inaccurate, and when they put out bad information, they simply come back and say, oh, I guess it wasn't true, and they just keep adding new information.
They don't even do that.
Hide it. Yeah.
They don't even say they were wrong. They just keep going with the story, and now there's all these conspiracy theories because they're saying, oh, there was 3 shooters instead of 1, and it builds on this huge mistrust and this speculation, which I've been guilty of myself before, and I swear never ever to do it because
in new media they're going to crucify Luke Rudkowski for doing that. But if CNN does it, it's fine. I mean, remember during the I believe it was the Boston bombing, how many things CNN got wrong that day, and they just kept giving wrong information, and it was fine with them. It was okay because it was like, oh, it's breaking news. You can't expect us to be perfect, and they're right. You can't expect them to be perfect, but you also can't expect you to be perfect.
Yeah, don't speculate. That's the worst thing that ever. Whenever there's a mass event that happens, people always speculate. We think this is happening. We think this guy is this. That is the worst thing. I did it once, and I got my butt chewed out for it, and I rightfully so. I deserve to get my butt chewed out for it publicly, and I'm willing to admit it publicly that I was wrong. And I think the more we humble ourselves, the more we act like we're not experts, the better information gatherers, the better journalists we will be.
Yeah, the fact is this: we've created this concept in America that a journalist is supposed to be almost divine in their ability to always have facts correct, and they're supposed to be experts on everything. We're not. We're supposed to be the guy who's the most critical in the room, the guy or the girl who questions everything. That is the job of a journalist. A job of a journalist is not to know everything, it's to question everything. And we have it so backwards. It's now like the journalist is the expert, and so they're not willing to ask any questions because they already know everything.
And I think really the more we hone citizen journalism, independent journalism towards that direction, the more we hone our skills, the more successful we will be as reporters. And I think there's a huge potential because I don't think we're there yet. No. I don't think independent media is there to just totally replace the mainstream media, but we will be if we just do our job correctly. So that's why I hope you found this video helpful, learned some ethics, learn some tips, and learn to admit when you're wrong. Be a good husband. That's right. Admit when you're wrong.
Let me say one other thing. We've been hanging out all this week. We're down in Galt's Gulch, Chile, and I tell people, you need to check out Galt's Gulch because this place is awesome. I have been so impressed in the last week how much creativity that we've been able to have in terms of just thinking outside of the American paradigm, and it's been an awesome experience. This is my first time in South America. Been in Mexico many times, but first time in South America, and it's just an awesome thing. So I would encourage people, just check out Galt's Gulch. If nothing else, check out these guys to come down here and to like free your mind for a week or so.
A lot of great like-minded people. I mean, just the conversations we were having here. I mean, you'll see. We're going to be releasing.
You're going to
not
find
just
out
me,
all
not just
about
me
it.
and Ben, but me, Ben, and 15 other people. We're going to be releasing some big major projects because of our work down here, because of
Galt's Gulch. Yeah, absolutely.
Because of just this community down here, and it's been an amazing experience. This is the first time in Chile. It's beautiful and it's amazing, and I just want to thank you so much for your time and your expertise, and keep up the great work. And benswann.com. Don't forget to go to that website. Afraid to talk about your depopulation plan.
Why don't you get lost?
Why should I get lost? It's serious.
Sick person.
Sick person. How am I sick? You're the one committing.
Mr. Rothschild, how you doing, sir? Can you tell us what went on at the Bilderberg meeting this year?
Sorry?
Could you tell us what went on at the Bilderberg meeting this year?
I didn't get that, actually, no.
The Bilderberg? You weren't there?
No.
Not this year. What went on last year?
No, I wasn't there.